He's backed around on us again, or doubled back towards Gary Main. He's a tricky leopard on foot, but we will figure him out eventually. Thank you, Tucker. Tucker, who's 5 years old, says, if I follow the squirrel tracks, I'll find the sneaky leopard. I'm going to do that right now, Tucker. I'm going to look for the squirrel tracks that'll take me to the sneaky leopard. Here's a sneaky leopard. Speaking of a squirrel track, here we go, Tucker, just for you. Here's this nice squirrel track. Now, I almost always are like this. Jump, jump. So that's the 2 back legs, 2 front legs, and it's when they keep still. That's what the squirrel track looks like. Scrub hare tracks also look very, very similar to that, but much bigger. Oh, lots of naughty, sneaky squirrels on this road, Tucker, so maybe you're right. Maybe he's going to be right down here. The temperature's dropping, so he's likely to be on the move at the moment. Might be checking his favorite warthog holes to grab something out. First Lady, I would assume so. I'm not 100% sure, but I think amoebas would exist in damn water. But I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I've never really thought about it. I can tell you that there's Spirogyra, blue-green algae. There's probably another 2 or 3 species of algae growing in that water. Terrapins, 1 species of terrapin, and occasional monarch lizard. There's obviously a catfish or 3 in there. But I've never thought about amoebas. I know there's mosquito larvae and dragonfly larvae. But I've never thought about amoebas so much. Okay. Now, let's go have a look at this tree quickly. Well, let's actually do the flower. It's more interesting. Now, hold this up close for you to see. How's that, Craig? So, this is an abutilon flower, and this leaf is so soft and silky. I mean, almost like velvet when you touch it. Very, very smooth. What it can be used for, there's a slight antiseptic and property to it, that you can put it on a wound and stick it on, and it's just really nice and soft, so it makes a good lower bandage if you do need to bandage yourself at any time. So yes, abutilon, very good one to know while you're out in the bush. And of course, I'm not going to chew it today because it's hot and we don't want to waste our water. But the common spike thorn, if you do have toothache or whatnot, you can chew on the leaves. It will numb your gums slightly. It just tastes horrible and makes your mouth extremely dry. So Craig's going to eat it for me. He won't let me feed him. He's closing his mouth. Okay, let's go across to Taylor, who's looking at the sunset.
Isn't that beautiful? I think that's absolutely spectacular, that sunset. So we're just going to take a moment now just to enjoy this. I, of course, can't believe that there are no birds talking. Only a couple of them. Fairly quiet. Now, the reason why we stopped here is for a number of different reasons, but I wanted to show you the video very quickly. Let's probably make sure my screen is clean, hey? Give it a good old wipey wipe. Especially after my hands being covered in sunblock. I want to show you Gregory very quickly. This is Gregory on my lap. It's a video. You ready to watch? That is her eating. She also bites my finger. She did get 2 grapes. I lied to you. I gave her 2. She's on my lap, though. Look how greedy she gets. And then she bites me here. Hey! So anyways, there's Gregory, the tortoise. And she was basically like this on my legs, trying to get onto my lap. She's not me, that little old tortoise. But we're making our way to the lions. I can hear there's a vehicle here, so I'm going to jump on the radio and ask. Yours, is that you with the Ngala at Chelepan? They walk down here. Let me find out. I can hear a car starting. Which station is on lock with the Ngala at Chelepan? No one is talking to us, so we shall just be going into that sighting. That's how it is. If they do not respond, we just go. So that's what we're doing now. Not far. I wish you could have seen this tortoise today, how she was looking for everyone. I mean, I haven't seen her for a few days. She just comes and goes. Now, with Gregory, she does not rely on us for food. This is something that we all need to understand. VM had actually had a great example now. VM basically said, it's like us knowing that you can get fruit from that apple tree, but you don't always rely on getting food from that apple tree because it doesn't always have fruit. And that's what Gregory does. She comes through the camp. She loves the attention. She loves to be scratched on the head. She doesn't hide away back in her shell. You can clearly see she's become used to us. And she did that all on her own. She just came wandering into camp one day and then tried to bite everybody's toes. So she does it all on her own. And she comes every now and then. Yes, we're pretty naughty. We give her a little fruit here, but it's the same thing as people feeding birds or feeding the squirrels. That's it. And then she goes off and she carries on. She's had eggs in camp, so it's pretty cool. So she's a very healthy tortoise. She's contributing to the population of Speaks Henge tortoises successfully, which is quite nice. She doesn't like it when her suitor comes into camp, though. It's like he's not allowed in. We are her people. So she's quite a funny little thing. She likes grapes. You give her little tidbits here and there, and then she carries on. I'll put her outside after that, actually. I said, no, enough now. Now, Joy from Hong Kong, this is a hard one to answer because Gregory just has a boy's name. I don't know who shouted it out when she came into camp the first time, and we were having breakfast, and someone said, "Oh, Gregory," and then, oh, it was Eggsy, aka Zander. No one calls him Zander, though. He's our editor. And basically he shouted, and then it just stuck, and then I went and looked and went, Gregory's actually a girl. Gregory's had babies now. And it's just stuck. You can't change that tortoise's name ever. It'll always be Gregory. So yeah, this is quite funny though. And I promise you, when she sees a person, she gets excited. If that thing could talk, it would be going, we're going, "Hello? Anybody here today?" And as you see, she gets upset. She goes, "Oh, no one's here." And then she walks outside and she loves to eat millipedes. That's her favorite thing. Often when you walk to where we park Wendy, Jigger and Rusty, you'll hear, and that's how I actually found her the first time. You just hear, and there she would be eating millipedes, and that's when I first realized that Speaks Henge tortoises actually ate millipedes. Right, we're going to try and get a good position of the lions. They're fast asleep. Tristan, however, has managed to get a really nice view of the sunset.
We have indeed. So we can't find much in the way of our leopard, but there is the most glorious sunset with these beautiful clouds and this big fallen over dead tree, and so it's the perfect place just to sit and admire the sun while listening out for any signs of this male leopard maybe making some animal's alarm call or something like that. Now Brent says that there was also a hyena in that area that kind of went running towards him, and that's when he sort of shot up and started running off. And so maybe what happened is he just lay back down not too far from where Brent saw him, and we need to just go back and have a little look around there. Maybe he's just lying and we just drove right past him. That's what I think anyway, but I'm not sure. I mean, it's difficult to say. It's also an area where it's quite a big block, and so, you know, we're not hearing alarm calls or anything like that, so it's quite a difficult place to actually find him. But hopefully he pops out somewhere, or we can find him if we go back onto those last tracks again. So Tesla is 7 years old. It's so nice that we've got all of our young fans watching today. It's always nice when you guys are about and you always come with so many amazing questions and comments. And so Tesla says Hukumuri is the Easter leopard, and that's why he's hiding, is because he has to stay hidden until it's Easter and he can deliver all of the eggs to everybody and then he can show himself. Well, Tesla, as much as I would like him to be the Easter leopard, it would be nice if he showed himself today, because I would like to show all of you Hukumuri, and so maybe we can compromise. And so he's hidden enough now. Now it's time for him to show himself, and he can grace us with his presence so we can all get to see him. Good. Now, while I carry on searching for him and see if we can find him and pull off a miracle, let's send you back across to Taylor, who's had a positively easy afternoon in comparison to us.
It's about time, Tristan, because the amount of nonsense I've spoken over the past few days is far too high. So it is nice to have some animals for a change. They've been avoiding me. We've actually been fairly lucky, don't you think? With all the sightings we've seen, from starting off with lions, dwarf mongoose, hippos, all sorts of birds. It's been very, very cool. In fact, on lots of stories. There's always time for stories. So only one lioness has got her head up. The rest of them are all flat, and fast asleep. But I'm hoping that that's going to change because the temperature has dropped significantly now. Now, if these evoker males arrive in the Pride, everyone's of course very worried about the lions, and Philip, you are most certainly worried too. And I think that these cubs would be old enough now to survive a takeover. I mean, they're almost the size of the adults. They're almost 2 years old now. Normally it's if they're sort of less than a year, up to a year and a half. But even then, I think these cats would run, even if they ran away and hid for a while. But to be honest, I think they'll be fine. I mean, these lionesses are going to soon start coming into estrus again. And because the evokers seem to be the ones that are putting pressure, if anything, I mean, they're just putting a little bit of pressure on, not much. Again, that inexperience may work in the Nkuhuma's favor. They might not know. I always tell the story about Mandlev hiding her cubs from the Charleston males. And she got them to think that after mating with her once, a month later, oh, look at my 4 or 5 month old cubs. She was a very clever girl. She's an older lioness, and I suspect she's probably not the first time she's done something like that. So I think the inexperience may work in the Nkuhuma's favor, and these cubs will be old enough. Unfortunately, that other little one didn't stand a chance. It was very sad. Hello, boy. Big belly. He definitely got some of whatever they ate this morning. Ooh, this is a hard one, Aaron. This is a very difficult question to answer. Goodness, you have to try and count. And the question was, because I'm just going to repeat it word for word, how many lion cubs would a lioness have on average over her entire life? Well, again, it depends. Some lionesses will have their first litter at about 3 years old, somewhere around there. Whether that litter survives, like Tristan was saying, the chances of survival for a lioness or a leopard's first litter is sort of slim to none. It's not uncommon for them to lose their first cubs to a number of different reasons. And they typically have cubs every 2 to 2.5 years, or maybe a bit more, every 2.5 years or so. They'll have another set of cubs. So Mandlev was old. Mandlev must be about, 14, 15 years old, and she had cubs in 2016. I'm just trying to think. It's almost an impossible question to try and answer, because lions can have anywhere between, most common amount of cubs to have is normally between 2 and 4. Here we sort of see 3, 2 and 3 being the most common amount. So then do they make it to adulthood? Aaron, I don't know if I can give you a proper answer. I have not studied lions long enough, and I can't say that I've ever watched one particular lioness for her entire lifespan from start to finish to be able to count how many cubs she has. So it's a difficult one, but perhaps somebody like Tristan, who's been in the Sabi Sand forever, since it was first opened. No, I'm only joking, of course, but he's just been in the Sabi Sand for a very long time, working down in the south and up in the north too. He might be able to give you an answer. Maybe he's got a specific lioness that he's sort of followed over the years. So I don't know if I can answer that sort of with much confidence. I think you'd have to be a lion researcher, probably someone that's spent years and years and years, 15, 20 years following prides of lions within a specific area. Again, it'll be different depending on which area that's in. So you go into a lot of different things. So yeah, I'm going to honestly struggle to answer that one. So I'm going to give it a skip. I don't think they'll have too many, to be honest. I don't think there'll be too many cubs that will make it to adulthood. Maybe just a couple, really, which is quite sad. In fact, it's not great. I believe it's very sad about the Southern Pride at the moment. That whole pride's just been completely demolished by young males coming in, trying to take over, females refusing to obviously mate with them killing the females. It's a very tough life. Where's that go-away bird that's shouting now? Can you hear it? Can you hear it shouting? I think it's somewhere here, but it might just be in a bush somewhere that we can't see, just sitting low down. It's alarming at the lions, though. We're watching from a distance, being a spoil sport. But let's go to Tristan and ask him, Aaron, about what you've just asked me. Maybe he has got a couple of stories to share.
Well, Aaron, so the thing is that with lions and leopards, as we've seen, through some of the animals we followed around here, various individuals are more successful than others, and that means the number of cubs that they can have in a lifetime, or number of litters of cubs in a lifetime, varies greatly. And so you can have a situation where, there's one lioness that's incredibly successful and she'll only have 6-7 litters in her time, or you'll have a situation where you have a lioness that has incredibly poor luck, much like Shadow in the leopard world, and she has a lot more. And so I've known lionesses that have had 14, 15 kind of cubs or litters in their time, and others that have only had 6 litters in their time. So it just depends on their success rates and how well they're able to deal with the things that they confront from a day-to-day basis, how good their coalitions are in the area, how long they stay for, and so that almost dictates kind of how many litters they can have. But I would say on average, most females probably only have about, maybe I would say between 6 and 8 litters in their lifetime, roughly in this area. There's maybe a situation where in other areas you'll get far more in terms of the number of litters that you've got. Now, because Brent said there was a hyena that was involved in this whole thing, maybe, just maybe, Hukamuri has just kind of sneaked away from the hyena and then laid down. So I'm coming back to where we found Brent on foot and to try and then work out exactly where to go. Now, Brent told me when we first found him that it was in that direction, straight towards that marula tree. So we're going to head towards the marula tree and we're going to just keep going, and we're going to try and check as many termite mounds as I can as we go, because he seems to love a termite mound. He seems to really like sitting on termite mounds, Hukamuri. And so, even when I found him the other day, he was lying right next to a termite mound, and I think he had been on it before we got that way. So I'm going to try and just head towards the nearest termite mound, scan around there, also just double check any of these little places that might house a leopard. The thing is, he could be miles away by now, and we could just be missing him every time we're going around. But it's worth a bash and worth a try. You never know. Maybe we get this right and we do find him. Now, as far as I understand it, this is where Brent said he kind of had him, and this is the rough area where he was running to. So maybe somebody spots him. Have you seen something, Darby? Just a termite mound over there. Okay, so Darby says he's got a termite mound over there, and he's just trying to see if maybe something is sitting atop that termite mound. The other problem with a leopard is it doesn't exactly leave a massive path as we go through. So, Djuma, difficult to say exactly how big his territory is because he hasn't quite set up his territory properly. So he hasn't got into a situation where he's kind of got his territory well defined. But theoretically, his territory is quite big. I mean, it's going from sort of Simbambili, Elephant Plains area, all the way through Arethusa, although Anderson was on Arethusa the other day and they were kind of having a little altercation. So it's going to be interesting to see how far west Hukamuri now pushes. And then it stretches all the way east to Guaripan. I mean, he's been all the way to the Torture boundary. So it's a massive area, and he goes down south into Hofmans. So he's pretty much taken as much territory as Tingana held for a long period of time, which is a rather large territory, that's for sure. I don't know if we're going to come right here. Philip, yes, they do. Leopards do form predictive paths and patterns, and as I was saying earlier, it's often a way that we use to track them. So generally, let's say hypothetically with, I don't know who's the best example for this. Hosana was in the winter months. He used to come in from Little Gari, and then his route would be either Twin Dams to Treehouse, or he would go from Little Gari driveway up Shabamu Pans to Treehouse Dam down to Twin Dams, and that's kind of how his route used to work. So he used to like walking in those kind of ways. Other individuals, a little bit more erratic. Tundi is a tough one. She's all over the place. So there's another termite mound. Nothing on top there, though. We were just trying to see if something was in that area, but nothing there either. Alright, well, I'm going to keep trying and keep seeing if I can find anything. Like I say, this is a needle in a haystack, and the darker it gets, the harder this is going to become. And so we'll hopefully have to have a little bit of luck. And so while we look, let's send you to Taylor, who's still got those lines.
Well, we've changed it up a little bit now. As you can see, we moved away from the 4 that were also laying flat in the open to, well, another 5 that are laying flat and panting heavily. They look like they're dreaming quite hard, the way that they're laying on their backs and their paws to the sky. Doesn't look like these cats are going to go anywhere just yet. But why do they need to? I suppose there's no reasoning behind it. It is going to be full moon, so there's going to be a lot of light around. Not exactly the hunting conditions that lions want. They want it to be dark, they want it to be windy, perhaps even a bit of rain, to give them the best possible chances of catching something. So maybe they're going to take it easy tonight and just rest up around Chele Pan and wait for animals to come towards them. And this is normally a hot spot with impala, normally a lot of Inyana around here. Maybe the old buffalo comes wandering on through too. That's always a possibility. I'm sorry, I'm swatting flies because they're biting me, as they normally do at this time of the day, these little midges that come out. There they are, fast asleep. So we'll sit with them for a little bit longer, but I don't think we're going to spend the entire drive here, unless they show some signs of getting up. Now, just going back a little bit, trying to, of course, remember when I first met Amber. I suppose it would have been the first time I met the Nkuhuma Pride, so it would have been late 2016. Fun Farmer, I can't ever recall ever seeing Amber Eyes showing any signs of her being pregnant. I don't even think we saw her lactating. I think Ali may have seen her lactating. Remember when was that, Fiam? Was it, you may have actually been in the Mara already. It must have been around April, May, June, July? Somewhere around there, just before the migration started, before most of the team went up to the Mara. We had this incident. I apologize, I do forget exactly when it was, but there was a young little cub that Ali had stumbled across, and we were confused. We didn't know if it was the youngest Nkuhuma lioness's cub or if it was Amber Eye's cub. Okay, cool. Nikki's actually pulled out a document. She's just going to update me very quickly. When exactly was that, Nix? 6th of June last year. and it was never seen again. It was only seen once, and Amber Eyes wasn't too sure about it. I remember that, but she did pick up the little one and move it away. So, it's hard to say. No one can confirm for sure. I don't think we ever got any footage of her lactating, but maybe I'm mistaken. Again, I wasn't in that sighting, so you can let me know. You can hashtag Safari Live and let me know if we did ever see her lactating. We've seen her mating. Oh. Never seen again. So we're just getting an update from Tristan as well now. He said that he had a report from a guide once that Amber Eyes did have 3 very young cubs that were seen once and then again, never seen again. So, it's hard to say. I've never seen her lactating. I've seen her mating many, many times, and she is always so unhappy about the fact that she has to mate with the males. I've never seen lions sort of so frustrated and annoyed by this entire process. But she knows if she doesn't mate with them, then the lions could turn around, the big males could end up killing her as well. So there we go. So there's some reports, and we'll just keep watching and observing, and hopefully we'll slowly be able to give you more and more answers, Fun Farmer. But for now, we just wait and see. We wait till the lionesses come into estrus again and see what happens. VM, do you want me to reposition for you again while we've got one lion? Oh, never mind. I don't even have to go anywhere. I forgot the camera can swivel. And here we go. Flat down again. Now, in order to be able to pick up if a lion does have a fertility problem, you'd have to get the vets involved. First Lady, there's no ways that we would be able to tell just by looking at a lion. It goes a bit deeper than that. There'd have to be blood tests. I'd imagine that they'd have to check estrogen levels and a variety of different things. Maybe go as far as checking if the ovaries have developed properly. So there's a number of different ways. But I think personally, I'm not a vet of any sorts. Of course, none of us here are vets. Just by looking at an animal being able to say that it's infertile, we can't do that. There could be a number of different complications that blood tests and ultrasounds, perhaps, physical examination would be able to give answers. But again, it's one of those things. It's nature. Sabi Sand policy, of course, is to not intervene. We obviously, with the exception, we do remember that the Sabi Sand were considering putting that big elephant bull down, because it's a serious hazard. If he comes wandering around camp, there's lots of people that are walking around here, and they were considering that. But other than that, unless it's an injury caused by human interference, they're probably not going to do much about it. And one lion having an infertility problem, it's just one of those things. She's obviously not meant to pass on her genes. But again, we're speculating. We don't know that for sure. Maybe she's just unfortunate and hasn't been successful in raising cubs. Maybe she keeps having the odds against her. Maybe new males come in and, take out her cubs. Maybe it's a leopard that's doing it. Perhaps it's a troop of baboons or a clan of hyenas. No one really knows. Again, we haven't observed anything, so we can only speculate. Yeah, Nikki's just reading back on a couple of things, and it's pretty consistent. Remember at one point, her and Amber Eyes and the youngest lioness, they were mating very, very regularly with all the Birmingham boys, and Nikki's just said Amber Eyes in particular was, mating regularly every 2 to 3 months. So it's a mystery. Unfortunately, I don't think we're ever going to get to the bottom of it. Like I said, unless you had to get the vets involved, and the amount of trauma and stress that causes a cat, complications that go with anesthetics, is a nightmare. And you know what? If you don't need to, rather leave it. Rather not. Kitty cats, not even a yawn from any of you. Just rolling around every now and then. Okay, well, we'll sit here for a little bit longer and see if they are going to wake up. Otherwise, we're going to go and look for other nocturnal creatures. Maybe tonight is the night to find a chameleon, or perhaps the snake. Or if we go to Tristan, I bet he's looking for similar things.
Well, Taylor, we are also trying to spot any nocturnal creature possible, and particularly the one with spots, but no luck. We have just traversed that entire block up and down, round and round, and I cannot find a single sign of this leopard anywhere here, and it's getting dark now, so I don't know, maybe he was spooked by seeing the guys on foot and he's decided that he's just going to play games today and move around in a kind of different way, or I don't know. For some reason, he's just being a difficult character this evening, and hopefully he'll kind of pop out at some point in the sort of future, but maybe tomorrow morning. We're just going to bumble towards Treehouse Dam in case he went that way, but I don't think he did. Brittany, all of the big cats have a very similar lifespan, and so none of longest. I mean, there's leopards that have gone to 21 years old, 22 years old. Lions that have gone, I suppose lions don't quite get to 22, although there is some, what's that walking? Waterbuck. So there's some kudu or waterbuck. Kudu, by the looks of things, that are crossing the road in front of us. For a second, I thought maybe, just maybe, there might be something on the road there, but it was just the kudus that are going past. Now, hopefully they might spot him and make some noise and shout about it. Now, Nikki, I don't know if they will be the barking ones. I think the barking ones were just south of Twin Dams, because the elusive kudu, exactly, yes. It seems everything is elusive today. But the elusive kudu that we're talking about actually were on the southern side of Gowrie Main, and that's why we couldn't see them. And I believe the guys are now following fresh tracks for Hosanna just south of Baboon Pan, which is just south of Twin Dams. So not on our side, and that's why we didn't pick up anything, but very, very close to the boundary and heading sort of eastwards back towards Chitwa side. So I'm pretty sure Hosanna's on his way to Chitwa Lodge, going back to the sanctity of Dad and Chitwa rooms. I think that's where he's going to be heading. Minamu, yes, they do maps of a lot of the territories, particularly females. They tend to overlap quite a bit. And look at that, there's a kudu that's on top of a termite mound. There we go. How cool is that? That's very cool. So these are the things kudus will do to be able to try and kind of get some higher ground to be able to spot things like leopards in this long grass. So they get up on the top there, they look around, then they can work out, okay, nothing there, and if they go down the mound. But how cool is that? Very, very pretty when you see a big antelope like that kind of perched on top of a termite mound. If only it was our leopard friend took a leaf out of or a page out of the kudu book, then maybe we would find him a lot easier, because that's not that difficult to spot anything when they're on termite mounds. Right. Our kudu friends have moved off. We're still on the move to try and find something this evening. And so while we do that, let's send you back to Taylor McCurdy. I think she might have left the Lions, I'm not sure, but I'm sure she's got an update either way.
We are with the Lions, but I don't think for too much longer. There's not been one yawn. Just the odd sigh here and there. Breathing deeply. But that's all, I'm afraid. The odd ear twitch, as you can see. Otherwise, very, very quiet. Yeah, like I said, I think they're going to take advantage of the cool air and just relax a little bit longer than they normally do, which is fine. They're allowed to do that. They've had a hard day. At least they got up earlier in the drive for us. Now, earlier we had that go-away bird that was shouting, and I said to you that that go-away bird is probably shouting for the lions, and I can hear a little testicular of sorts also just going which I assume is for the other lionesses that we can't see at the moment. So, Eloise, birds and squirrels and things like that, they will alarm at all the predators, because they do essentially pose a threat. I mean, we've just got to go back to watching young Hosanna and Shongile. They were chasing after birds. They were chasing after terrapins. They were also, shooting up trees and chasing squirrels. So, even though a fully grown lion doesn't necessarily pose a threat to something like a bird or a squirrel, unless they were absolutely desperate. Perhaps they were skin and bones and they couldn't bring down anything bigger. A little guinea fowl snack or a squirrel snack would do them the world of good. So they do constantly need to and have to alarm. And then, you know, not only are they warning all the other birds and squirrels and things like that, but they're warning the impala, they're warning the buffalo, the elephants. They're telling all the animals around that there's predators here. Unfortunately, no one likes the predators. Look at those three pushing one another around. Thank you. Thank you very much. You obviously heard me subtly complaining about your lazy lion habits, which of course we know are essential. We've got to conserve all that energy. And like I said, they worked hard this morning. They showed Tristan how efficient they were in terms of hunting. Well done. It's something that we don't often get to see. Not that we saw the hunt, but at least we got to see them licking their lips and cleaning themselves. Hello, Marcusian Aviation. You're a new viewer. Great to have you. Yes, we do this every single day, not just once a day. We do it twice a day too. It's a big yawn from a lion. So you can join us every afternoon. The Sunset Safari starts at 3:30 to 6:30 Central African time, and then it all happens again at first light on the Sunrise Safari, where drive starts from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central African time. And you've joined at the most perfect moment, because the lions aren't lazing around. They're yawning and stretching into heartbeat and starting to wake up, and this is when they do thrive at night. I'm also hoping that Tristan's going to be able to see where the moon comes up from, because I think we're not going to have the best view, I'm afraid. There's one girl walking on over. Are you going to head towards the other lionesses that are just laying off into the distance? No? Going to say hello? Very social cats. Wait. Constantly saying hello to one another. Aha! Marcusian Aviation, I don't even need to tell you how to answer or ask questions because you figured that out. You've now asked, where is this? Well, currently, I'll give you the lowdown. I'm sitting near a little watering hole called Chele Pan, which is on Djuma Private Game Reserve, which is within the Sabi Sandvildtain and the Greater Kruger National Park, essentially. Maybe you've heard of the Kruger National Park. We're not in Kruger. We're in the Greater Kruger, so we're on the outskirts. There's no fence between us and the Kruger, so these lions can go wherever they want. And, yes, and we're in South Africa, most importantly. That's where we are, which is epic. So thank you and welcome. And I always say this, apologies for your latest addiction. I promise you, you're not going to be able to switch it off. Even though these lions are up and down right now, we often get to watch leopards and lions hunting and successfully taking down prey. We have cool, strange sightings like watching snakes, you know, chase or trying to chase away mongoose species for prey. My goodness, elephants swimming. Can you believe it? That's always quite cool to see too. So we're very spoiled with the sightings. And then we go right down on the bushwalk to looking at the smaller things, turning over leaves, seeing insects, tasting plants, teaching you about medicinal uses, dead elephants, watching an entire elephant carcass disappear in front of your eyes, hyenas and vultures. So we basically get to see the circle of life out here. This is, again, it's all in the wild. This isn't in any way a zoo. These animals are not tame. They simply are just habituated to the vehicle. So that's another cool thing. Sometimes the cats will, and all the animals will literally just walk past the vehicle. They normally don't pay too much attention to us. And as long as you sit still, you don't try and get their attention, you'll be safe. Oh, here's Bitcoin Ninja, who's my new friend. I'm so glad that you're still watching. So there we go. Bitcoin Ninja is also a relatively new viewer and said that I'm not kidding. You're now watching every single day. Yeah, I told you. It's a problem. A good kind of problem, though. The addiction you want in your life, where you can come and you can laugh and you can sort of, if you've had a very stressful day, I always recommend putting Safari Live on. Just because sometimes we're a bit silly. Sometimes nature is hysterical. Actually, if you watch while I'm around, sorry, I don't know which way. got caught out there. Nature's pretty hysterical around me. I'm quite lucky. So we do have a lot of laughs, and that's what we strive to do, is educate you, put a smile on your face. You know, like I always say, put your feet up, have a beverage in your hand, an apple juice. You'll learn what an apple juice is, or maybe somebody can tell you what an apple juice is. And, of course, just enjoy yourself. So let me formally introduce myself. I'm Taylor, and bringing this amazing footage is VM. And then you'll meet Tristan. Brent has gone home now because it's too dark for bushwalk. And soon you'll meet Steve and Ralph, and you might see Jamie and Scott as well. James is also around. There's a whole bunch of us, which is pretty cool. And on that happy note, I'm going to send you across to Tristan, though. He's just on a bumble, still looking for those nighttime critters.
I am on a bumble, Taylor. I don't think we're going to get Hukumuri right. I've done now 4 times around the same block, and I feel like I'm starting to kind of see double on the same road. So we've decided we're just going to give ourselves a bit of a break from there for now. I mean, he's just somewhere in there, and we've tried. We've gone in every direction we can. We've looked on every road. I've gone to Treehouse Dam in case he went back that way, checked the Shabamu pans again in case he wanted water, but nothing of him. And so he might just be sort of sitting in along those sort of thickets and hunting around in there. You never know. We know he was hunting warthogs this morning and yesterday, so maybe he's hungry and he's starting to try and chase the duiker or various other animals that maybe are inside that block. We know there are some warthogs that hang around in that area, so I don't know. That's what I think, and the chances of finding him now is probably, he might walk onto a road, but if he crosses a road and just goes straight over, it's going to be difficult to spot tracks, and so not going to be easy at all. So we're just kind of meandering down towards the Twin Dams area in case those kudu alarm calling give us something. Also in case there's any hyenas that are making their way towards the early carcass, or what's left of the early carcass. So what are we going to call it from now? We're going to have to, I suppose it still is a carcass, or elephant skeleton is what we're going to have to start calling it, because there's really very little meat in that area. I'm also looking around for any signs of chameleons while we've got a spotlight out. It's been a while since I've had a spotlight out, and there's a car in front that has got lights on, so just having a little kind of turn those off so that we don't blind anybody, and put off for them so that they can come past as well. We don't want to end up in a situation where we are blinding guys and that we have a situation where we are getting too many lights on them at all. How's it going? Very well, thanks, man. So it's one of the new guides in the area. I have no idea who that is and what his name is. Oh well, he seems like a friendly chap, so good on him. Hopefully he's enjoying his time in the Sabi sands as a new guide. Anyway, Paula, do we have any Easter plans? Nikki, do we have any Easter plans? I'm not very good with the plans. I just work here. People tell me what to do and point me in the right direction, and I just go there. Jerry, what are the plans? We have Easter breakfast with secret parcels, and Easter dinner with desserts. Now, this all sounds very exciting, and a day of going to be complete gluttony. So it's going to be an interesting day. We'll have to see how it all plays out and how things end up going, but it should be quite fun. I'm sure there will be some pictures taken, and we shall show all of you what we get up over the course of our Easter Sunday. Hopefully, wherever you are in the world, you're going to have a nice day as well, and it's going to be filled with chocolate as well. Most people want chocolate on Easter, except for Taylor. Taylor has a situation where this is really weird, because on her Easter, apparently, she doesn't get chocolate. She gets Pringles, which is a type of chip, and she gets pajamas. Where does that come from? David, have you ever got...
No.
Not once, no. Me neither. Nikki, have you ever got Pringles and pajamas on Easter? Now, I believe there's a situation where Nikki is flabbergasted. She's not even answering my question as to whether she's ever received pajamas and Pringles for Easter, but the person that has is Taylor, and so let's go across to her and find out what her opinion is about these Easter Sunday kind of pajama and Pringles tradition.
I love it. You know what? No one ever believes me But I never used to eat chocolate. I hated it. I really, really didn't like it. I don't know why. I don't know what was wrong with me, but don't worry. I've now changed. Everything is fine again. I eat all the chocolate in the whole world now. It's now delicious. I love it. Except the marshmallow chocolate. Not into that at all. So yes, I, as a kid growing up, the Easter Bunny would bring me pajamas and Pringles. I don't know how the Easter Bunny knew this, which is pretty cool. And for all the young viewers that are watching, because there might be some of you watching, my mom actually phoned me, and she's very lucky. She's got a direct contact with the Easter Bunny, and the Easter Bunny said that when I come home, so I found this out, my mom actually just gave me a call now, and basically just said that because I'm not going to be home for Easter, and the Easter Bunny can't go to everybody's residence all the time, so he's just going to leave my present at home for me, I will be getting pajamas again, no Easter egg, which I thought was quite cool. I'm looking forward to that. I need a new pair of pajamas. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to be winter ones or summer ones. We'll have to see. I'll post a picture, obviously, at because I love to overshare. At some point, we'll have a look at what pajamas the Easter Bunny left me. But I'm quite happy for the camper Easter Bunny because I don't think they'll not give us anything. He'll not give us anything. I'll get some sort of chocolate. Otherwise, luckily our shopping order consists of many slabs of chocolate. I'll just eat those. I'll be happy with that. And now look at us. We did lions in colour. Now we've got lions in infrared. How cool is that? So for all the new viewers that have joined in, I apologise for making the camera shake. I'm shuffling in the car. VM's about to bop me on the head. And those of you that don't know what infrared is, it's a special type of light that animals don't see. We don't see that light either. And it's getting very dark. I can still sort of see the cats, but in the next 10 minutes or so it's going to be complete darkness and we won't be able to see a thing, but we'll still be able to see them, but without affecting them. And this is really great for when they go hunting. Obviously we don't like to move around too much when lions or any predator is on the go and looking for something to eat, potentially stalking. This infrared light is great for that. We can just sit back and sort of watch without putting that big bright spotlight. The only time we really use our spotlights now is for spotting. In fact, we use it to spot chameleons, and once we've found a leopard moving through the bush or a lion or a hyena, we switch to infrared and off we go. Kitty cats, you fooled me. You fooled me. I thought you were all waking up. You all just shuffled to a new spot to lay. They're laying on the sand. Perhaps they're getting the last of the warmth of the day. It's starting to get chilly now. The temperature is definitely changing quite quickly. Ooh. Philip, this is a difficult question to answer because I have yet to bump into the Easter Bunny as he's been making his way through the wilderness. So I don't know how the Easter Bunny doesn't manage to bump into lions and leopards. Perhaps there's some arrangement. I don't know. Maybe the Easter Bunny bribes the lions and leopards with, I don't know, things that lions and leopards might eat. I don't think they eat chocolate, but like I said, I didn't like chocolate as a kid, and the Easter Bunny knew that. So maybe they get Impala Easter eggs. Perhaps. No, this is getting ridiculous now. Feel free to chime in whenever you want. Look at them, fast asleep. Even me cackling and making all sorts of noises, the lions don't care. I mean, I don't know how they sleep through my loud voice. Oh, now, earlier you may have seen that one of the lionesses actually fell down onto a lioness fell down onto him. And Unique, I don't know if you managed to see that. But no, the young male is not quite as big as the lionesses just yet. Almost. Give him maybe another 6 to 8 months, and I think he'll almost be exactly the same size as them, maybe just slightly off. But this is the part of the time of his life where he's going to grow the quickest. I suppose it's essentially like being a 14-year-old boy. They're going to need to eat a lot, and you don't know when that growth spurt is going to happen, but it will. I mean, you see his footprints, and they're massive. So he's got big feet. His shoes are quite large. He's wearing size 12 like Brent, but he hasn't quite grown in terms of height, and he hasn't filled out with muscle just yet, but he'll get there. He definitely will. He's going to keep filling out right up until he's about 6-7 years old, even older than that, even a little bit more than that. And again, then that sort of shape of his body will fluctuate depending on how much he's eaten and how regularly he has eaten. This is cool, though. It's quite nice to say that I'm spending my night out in the bush, surrounded by 11 lions as they sleep peacefully. Pretty epic. I don't think many people get to say that they can do that. And I'm still waiting for that Easter bunny. I can't see him. Oh no, the bugs are coming now. This is the worst part. This is the only time of the evening that I'm not too fond of, is all the little bugs and things that start coming around. They're also getting active. It might have been a couple of alates, or perhaps some adult antlions, some lacewings that were flying about too. I did notice some very floppy wings. VM, this is not going anywhere, I'm afraid. I think we could sit with these lions for the next 2 hours, and they're not going to move. I think that they're just actually going to relax. So on that happy note, thank you very much, Nkuhuma Lions. We may come out and try and see you a little bit later, perhaps. But for now, I think we're going to cut our losses, and we spent quite a nice amount of time today. Work. These are lights on voice command. No. Work. No. That's nice. Now I'm going to drive with my brights on. Where is my spotlight? Chameleons. Now's your time to shine, quite literally. Show yourselves. I don't like to drive with my brights. And work. No. Okay, I failed miserably. Okay, let's see. Cool. Well, Tristan, game is on, my friend, to see who's either going to see the Easter Bunny hopping about, starting his way around, hiding the eggs from all of us, or who's going to find a chameleon first, right? My money's on the Easter Bunny, so let's go and see what Tristan thinks.
Well, it seems as though the Easter Bunny has hidden all the leopards too this afternoon, because we're struggling. We've just had Kruger alarm calling right south of the boundary here, and lo and behold, guess what? The drama in this area cannot get any more than what it already is when it comes to our leopards, but it is. There is an unknown male leopard here that is skittish, that is running around, and it is not that Wabba male that has been seen on Buffel's Hook apparently. There's a Easter Bunny right there, so we win, Taylor, unfortunately. There's a little scrub hare that is bounding around through the bush that is now flattening its ears and trying to kind of make itself a little smaller. But I was saying there's now an unknown male leopard, skittish, running around on Little Gari, close to Twin Dams, which, like, we need another male in this area. It's just absolutely ridiculous how many males have come through in the last few weeks, and it's going to be exceedingly more difficult for Hosanna and Tamba to eke out an existence with this kind of pressure that they're getting from all of these males. I believe it's a fairly large male, adult male, so who it is, or how far he's come from, is anyone's guess. I'm going to hopefully get some pictures from the guys that have just seen him. There's only one person that's just got a picture of him, and so we'll just try and see if we can work out exactly who it is. But like I say, it just complicates things that much more. We now don't only have Hukamuri to worry about, and Djuma, and Quarantine, and Anderson, and Hosanna, and Tamba, and now there's another male that's in the mix, plus these males that are flirting on the boundary to the north. It's just crazy how many male leopards there are at the moment, and how they're kind of moving around. It sounds like he's moving now eastwards towards Chitwa Dam, and kind of, just on the northern side of Chitwa Dam is where he should pop out, this particular individual, but he's still quite a long way from there. He's kind of between the Mulawati and Chitwa at the moment, so I don't know, interesting times ahead. It's going to be very kind of interesting to see how our poor little boys handle having all these big guys around, and whether or not Tingana responds to this individual, because that's now going straight towards Chitwa Dam, which is Tingana's kind of last little stronghold. And then you've also got a situation if he goes further east towards Quarantine. So it's all just kind of panic at the moment, and drama-filled sort of Catterday to finish off this afternoon. So, Nancy, a situation, try and kind of figure out either through their characters, so the way that they do things. So, I'm just trying to think of a good one to describe this. So the original Wabiyiza, which was Tandi's cub, he was named because of his kind that he was. So he was given the Wabiyiza name. I'm just trying to think of Shadow. That's another prime example. Because of her elusive nature, she was given the name Shadow. Or if it's an area where they occur. So Hukamuri he was deemed to have occurred or had been born near the Hukamuri drainage into the Hukamuri female. But as we now know, that's not the case. So it's either an area that or a characteristic that they've got that kind of suits their way, and that's how they kind of get their name. This sort of situation, most of them were named so long ago. A tree, if you take the Nkuhuma Pride, or you take the Salala Pride, those are both trees names in the local language, and there's pans that are named after, the Salala Pan, which is because of the trees that occur there, and that's where they used to hang out, and so that's the name. The Majingalan Coalition, they were given a name because they used to walk, when they first arrived, they used to walk north-south on the Kruger boundary, just like the anti-poaching teams, which were nicknamed the Majingalan, which is basically translates to security, and so that's why the Majingis got that name, is because of the way that they moved. The Birminghams are from an area that they come from, so that's where the names kind of come from. The other little names that we use, which are generally just quirky little names like Matilda or Mildred. Matilda is a mantis, and Mildred is a millipede, which is just every millipede for Taylor. Those are just because we are just having a little bit of fun. Not Barbara, long toes, these are all things that are just us having a little bit of a joke around and having a bit of fun with things. It's nothing serious, but the real proper actual real names come from where they either occur or a characteristic that they show. And only certain territorial animals will be named, so it's not like they'll name all the elephants, bar Daryl and Fang, and those are because those are elephants we see regularly that have very unique characteristic that is easy to tell. Short trunk as well. But other than that, most of the animals are not named, and by the guides around us, things like Fang and Daryl, nobody actually really calls them that at all. They think we're all pretty bonkers because we name all these things, but it is just the way it goes. Now we're going to be bypassing the Nkuhuma Pride because we're on our way kind of back to the camp, so they should be somewhere here. This is where we had them this morning, I would imagine. Hello, little scrub hair. Little baby scrub hair. Sorry, little one. But you can see that's a tiny little scrub hair. So this is an Easter bunny in training. You see, it's doing its laps, it's going back and forth, and now it's going to just go hide away. It's a little bit sharp, hasn't worked out quite hard to cope with the stardom that is the Easter bunny. So it's decided to jump off into the road. Now, the guys are talking a lot on the radio, so I'm just going to turn that down because I feel like there's soon to be blood coming out of my ears from so much talking. There's a lion in the road. Hello, guys. What you doing here? Very, very sleepy lions, all of them. So you can see them kind of hanging about. Hey, guys. And they are doing pretty much what they've done with Taylor all afternoon. Pretty much all of them are sleeping. There's one that's made it to the road, and this is exactly where we found them this morning. Interestingly enough, look at how much smaller their bellies are compared to this morning. This morning they had much, much, much larger bellies than what they have now. It's amazing how quickly they actually digest, but I'd imagine they're going to have a nice little nap this evening and probably will start getting up only much later when it really cools down quite a bit. Nice to have them around though. Nkuhuma Pride is always welcome on Djuma. They're a beautiful set of girls and wonderful to have them. Good. Now, we're going to probably leave the Nkuhumas because we didn't really want to bump into them. I was hoping they weren't going to be on the road, but we were, like I said, coming from where those alarm calls were. So we're going to go around them, and while we do that, let's send you back across to Taylor.
Tristan, not even you could manage to coax those Nkuhumas up with your charm. Well, then there's no hope for us. Right, another thing that I need to mention, I think the Easter bunny that Tristan had was an imposter, because remember, tomorrow is also April Fool's. Let us not forget that. And I hope the Easter bunny does not play a trick on us and forget to bring our Easter eggs. That would be terrible. There will be tears on Game Drive. From me, especially, or if the Easter Bunny decides to just give me the marshmallow eggs, very upset. I actually like those plain white ones that you used to paint as a kid. Those were really nice. Those are quite cool. I like them. They're delicious. Oh, yes. Tula Ann, you've said that you've also got pajamas in your Easter egg basket. Very cool, but you said no Pringles. Well, you know what, Tula Ann, maybe I'll put in the good word for you just because you're one of my favorites. Perhaps I'll do that. It'll be an Easter miracle. Right, what else are we looking for here? Still looking for the chameleons and things. I have yet to see a Easter Bunny. I don't know where the Easter Bunny is. We will have a little squiz around. We're actually coming up towards the dam now, and I bet we're going to see lots of Easter bunnies there. But that's not what I want to find. Tristan's found them. I mean, how am I going to top a baby scrub hare? I mean, that's too cute. Maybe a snake. A little snook would be quite nice. The snook is just, I don't know why we call in camp either a snake, S-N-E-K, or a snook. And, I mean, the snook, the closest thing to a snook is actually a type of fish. But anyways, South Africans are strange. We really are strange. Our lingo is incredible. And like I always say, when you come to South Africa, before you come to South Africa, find a book on the strange words that we say. Otherwise you're going to arrive here very confused and you're not going to know what we are talking about most of the time. So it's kind of like you have to learn a new language when you come to South Africa. That's actually what it is. You have to learn a new language. Oh my goodness, the time is running out and I have yet to find a chameleon. My skills have deteriorated. All the chameleons have just disappeared and gone into estivation, like they normally do at this time of the year. I suppose I shouldn't be too surprised. I just thought we'd get lucky with all the warm days that we have had. Who have we got on the road? Is that a bronze wing courser? I think it may be a bronze wing courser. Hello. Right, everybody, see you tomorrow for April Fools and Easter. I hope you all have a wonderful time wherever you are in the world, but we'll see you all tomorrow.